girl Tamika and I am back, Jack.
Let's get into this one, homie. Court proceeding.
Employed by Detroit Police Department.
26 years.
And are you assigned to a specific unit or division?
This is gonna have
right
a lot
now,
more forensic
homicide cold
evidence in
case.
here. A lot more evidence in here.
Detective Johnson, can you pull that microphone down so that everyone can hear? Thank you.
And were you working back in February of 2024 in homicide cold case?
Yes.
And did you get the chance to assist in the investigation of, at that time, missing Naziyah Harris?
I did.
Okay. And I want to take you to the location of 20,000 Harbor. Okay. Do you, you're assisting in the investigation, take you to that location?
Yes.
And what is that location?
Park Crest Hotel.
Okay. And do you recall when about you went there?
Sometime in February.
Okay. And it's in 2004?
Yeah.
2024?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you went there, what is it that you did?
We spoke to the clerk that was on duty at the time, and we requested the ledger for January.
And did you receive anything from the ledger from January?
Yes, we did.
Okay, and what is it that you received?
There was a sign-in sheet filled out by Mr. Butts.
Okay. And did you take a copy of that sign-in sheet?
Yes.
Okay. And Your Honor, may I approach people's proposed exhibit
You
9?
nasty
Yes.
motherfucker, you. You nasty motherfucker.
Handed
You.
this mark as people's proposed exhibit 19. Can you tell me, you recognize what it is I just handed you?
Yes.
And is that a fair and accurate depiction of the receipt that you received from the Park Crest Inn as it relates to Mr. Butts?
Yes, it is.
And I move for the admission of people's proposed exhibit 19. No objection.
Okay, to be admitted as People's 19.
Thank you, Judge. And looking at that receipt, who is it that checked out a room?
Jarvis R. Butts.
And is there a address associated with that?
Yes, there is.
And without reading the numbers of the address, what street is that on?
Wilshire Drive.
And is there a phone number associated with that person?
Yes, it is.
And what's that phone number?
313-585-8719.
Yep.
And
that's
what
his
is
number.
the day that this hotel room was checked out?
January 9th, 2024.
Okay. And is there a room number that was checked out?
Yes, room 69.
Is
And
there a time that he
time
checked in?
that it was checked out?
Checked out at 12:30 p.m.
And is there a checkout date?
That was the checkout time.
So-
Check-in was 9:30 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
He slept with his little girl before he did something else to her. Because when you think about the timeline, for them to get to a park from 9,000 to the garage, because they was there at least at 8:45, we know for a fact. Because the business partner left the shop. They said he checked in at what, 9:30?
And is there a checkout date?
That was the checkout time.
So-
Check-in was 9:30 p.m.
So 9:30 p.m. We need to figure out how long it takes to get from that garage to the hotel. Something. Yo, this girl, auntie had been calling and texting you this whole time, asking about this little girl, and you straight just lying this whole time, not answering the phone or nothing. He went to the motel. Yeah, he went to the motel from the garage. Facts. Yeah, because if he checked in at 9:30, you know they was at least at the shop at least about 9, because Shawty said he left them there. So he said he left out at 8:45 because he had to be in the house by 9, and they was still there. So his ass, they left there and went straight to that hotel. He's nasty, just nasty.
Okay, thank you.
Ugh.
Did you do anything with this receipt once you received it?
Yes, we got the receipt and we forwarded it to Sergeant Jones.
It was.
So my thing is, he checked out at 12:30 that night? 12:30 in the morning? Or 12:30 the next day? I should have looked at that. I should have listened to that better.
This physical receipt.
Because he had to get Shawty. Yeah, he had
Yes.
to get Shawty car. So that's what I'm saying. He went and got Shawty car after he got to the hotel. That's what was telling me, y'all, that he parked his car right around the block from Shawty. And then when he got his BM car, nigga, that's how he was doing certain shit. Yeah, he left his car at the motel, walked to get his BM car. So you mean to tell me that this hotel is close to the BM house? Because how far? Because I thought she stayed on Belford.
Nothing further, Judge.
Okay, cross.
Detective Johnson, you said that when you went to the Park Crest Motel, you spoke with the clerk.
Yes.
Was that clerk the clerk that was there themselves on the night?
I don't believe so. We spoke with the clerk who forwarded us to the manager. We waited on the manager to come in. He brought the receipt out.
Did either the clerk or the manager that you spoke with indicated that they had any recollection of seeing Mr. Butts on the night?
No.
Okay. Did you spoke with anybody at the Park Crest Motel who did seem to indicate that they had familiarity with Mr. Butts?
Not for that particular night.
We gotta go back to her
A few
shit.
people said they may have seen him prior, but not for sure.
Did you get the impression that he's kind of a frequent flyer there?
Somewhat, yes.
Okay. Did you notice when you were there if there were any cameras in the parking lot or around the door?
Yes, there's cameras.
There's cameras. Where are they located?
I can't be specific right now. I know there is cameras in the lobby and there are some outside on the perimeter.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Any redirects?
Were you able to retrieve footage from the cameras?
Nothing further, Judge.
Okay, we all set. Thank you.
Yes, Lexiana, they do. She do look like a black Roseanne. You stupid as fuck, Kawana.
Judge, at this time, people would call Detective Sarah Markle.
Yo, why am I dying? She fucking do. Alright, y'all. So for everybody got their pens and their notes, we gotta make sure that we go back and check some very, very critical information. Now I do remember Latasha saying that they swapped cars. We gotta go back and revisit her thing. This one right here ain't live. These are the ones that I put to watch later that we didn't get to yesterday. Because this one's gonna have some more forensic and clothing and stuff on this one. More with the hoodies and things like this. This was saved from yesterday. They doing closing arguments live right now. Well, we'll get into later. But look, the most important part, because listen, we need to do this. We know Naziyah was alive when she left Ypsilanti. So far, this is how we got her timeline. We know she went to school. She got off her bus, the school bus. And I'm thinking when she got off the school bus, she jumped on the public transit to go and meet this nigga. Some kind of way they have already been talking throughout the day. So she gets out there to where this nigga's at. You know what I'm saying? He act like, oh my God, that's my niece walking. I didn't know she was coming. Because he didn't ask no questions like, what you doing over here? Then call Naziyah grandmama or his baby mama and be like, yo, you know Naziyah out this bitch? He ain't do none of that shit. Even when the partner felt like she was being distracting a little bit, he like, you gonna drop her off? This nigga like, nah. You feel what I'm saying? So now, fast forward. We know that they're on the way to Ypsilanti now in a Jaguar, okay? Following that Cordell King milk dud head ass nigga. We know both of these ladies in the house seeing Naziyah living. Let's go now. We going back to the shop. They get to the shop. Dud, milk dud, King, he leaves because he on tether. He had to be home by 9 o'clock. So we know he was cutting it close. So we know around this time, it's at least 8:45 when Naziyah and this motherfucking girl, when Naziyah and this punk ass dude was at the shop. which is extra sad, is we also know that his baby mama hadn't called him by this time saying, have you seen Naziyah? And he acting like he don't know where she at, even though everybody else know she is with him right now. That is crazy to me. So now we need to figure out from the garage, did he go to the motel first or did he go to the baby mama shit first? And we gonna look back at that to see. You know what I'm saying? And then we need to know how far Belford is from the new shop to the old shop. I mean to the hotel. We need to know where she closer to, cause he went. I'm just trying to understand how he did the car thing. If he went to her house first, that means he had to drive his truck, park his truck somewhere around the corner, tell Naziyah to sit in the car, go get her car, come back to his truck, put Naziyah in there, because we know Naziyah was in there because the glasses was in there. You feel me? So we got to figure that part out. But let's keep watching this part, yeah. So y'all write that down. We need to know.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Why don't you step, please?
Can you state your name for the record?
Yes, Sarah Markle.
And how are you employed today?
I am a detective with the Detroit Police Department.
And I want to take your attention back to January of 2024. At that time, were you assigned to a specific division within the Detroit Police?
No, and that's the thing. Naziyah does not go with him by herself. They say it often. You know what I'm saying? But she said at this time, they was just calling, they was freaking out and blah, blah, so she was just calling to see. She was calling everybody supposedly to see where she was, because sometimes Naziyah and his daughter would come up to his shop and clean up. Now, I don't understand why they would have to come to go clean up the girls when he got grown-ass sons. That's what they should be doing. Yeah, I don't understand.
Police Department?
Yes, back then I was assigned to major crimes homicide.
And what was your role in major crimes homicide at that time?
To do phone extractions.
And is that something you did on a regular basis?
It was.
And would you extract upwards of 1,000 phones a year?
Yes, I was averaging around 2,000 phones per year.
Something that you were trained to do at that time and are trained to do?
Yes.
Okay. Were you provided with multiple devices in this case relating to the investigation into the death of Naziyah Harris?
I was.
And who provided you those devices, or which unit provided you those devices primarily?
Homicide.
Okay. Specifically, cold case or missing persons?
The missing persons squad within homicide, yes.
Okay. And just very briefly, can you talk about what a phone extraction or forensic extraction is from a cell phone?
Yes, so to put it in just very simple terms, it is making a copy of everything that's within a device. It's using special software in order to do that, to make sure that the information or that copy is done in a secure manner. But it is just making a copy, connecting the phone to the software program on a computer and making a copy of anything that is inside the phone.
Okay, well, read us the copy.
Things like
We need,
messages,
we need.
user
Hi,
accounts,
Rum Maker.
photos, videos,
How you
things
feeling,
like
boo?
that,
Correct.
and contacts that
Yes,
the person had. Okay.
yes.
And is there a way that you go about that process that allows yourself or the OIC or the prosecutor or defense attorney to be able to view and understand what the data that was on the phone?
Yes, so when the extraction is done, the report is put into what's called the Celebrate Reader program. The reader program is provided to the officer in charge of the case, and a copy is put on evidence. That program that contains all of the information from the extraction is the reviewable format or copy that anybody can look at who has the actual report.
And so after it's put into that readable format, anyone would be able to go
Hey,
and
Natalia.
and see different dates and times and things like that of when things were sent or received.
Yes.
Okay. And does that also include something called a preliminary device report?
Yes.
And what is that?
Okay, we don't want to know what all that is. We want to know what's going
Look
on.
at that, detective, and look.
Yeah, let's look in it. Let's look. The fuck? The trial be so aggravating.
If you could take a look at that, detective, and then look back up at me when your memory's refreshed.
Yeah, 2510 are the last four.
And was there a name associated with that account?
Yes.
And what was that name?
Well, with the phone, yes.
With the phone, yes, sorry.
Yes, that was a consent from Tijuana Butts,
And you said consent, what do you mean by that?
that the owner of the device consented to a forensic search of the phone.
And you need consent or a search or a valid signed search warrant to do your job, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you performed an extraction and placed an extraction on evidence for that phone number and that account or that device?
I did.
At this time, Judge, I would move to admit the full extraction as Exhibit 57, People's Proposed 57.
Tijuana, who was Tijuana
hear you.
Butts?
No objection.
Okay, it will be admitted as People's Exhibit 57.
Was that the sister?
And may I approach again, Judge?
Yes.
I'm handing you what's been marked as People's Proposed 58. Take that back. Just for identification purposes. Detective, is that the preliminary device report associated with the device for Tijuana Butts?
No, Alexiana, it happened last year and so many people dropped the ball on it. That's what happened. For a whole month, nobody did nothing. Nobody was handling the case. So she didn't really start gaining traction until way after the fact. This is just the hearing now of the trial. You know what I'm saying? He got caught I think 5 months or so afterwards. He got brought in, but they never found baby girl body yet.
Yes, the
First 2 pages.
first 2 pages are.
And that includes the number on there ending in 2510.
It does.
She was only 13, bro, I'm pregnant, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, and she was getting SA'd by her auntie's baby father. And not only was he doing that to her, they're saying that he's also been doing that to one of their kids as well. So he's a sick fuck. And even before then, they were saying that he did some shit beforehand. He's just a nasty dog.
And that includes your name on there as well.
Correct.
May I approach again, Judge?
Yes.
And Detective, another device that you extracted in this case, was that for a phone number ending, or for the full number of 313-585-8719?
Yes.
That's his number.
And what was the name associated with that phone?
That was done through a search warrant.
And was there a person, a name associated with that phone, if you remember?
No, so if it's a search warrant phone, there isn't a name that I would attach to it.
But that was the number on the cell phone number, was ending in 8719?
Correct.
And did you do that same process and perform and place an extraction on evidence for that phone as well?
Yes.
Why wouldn't you,
At this time,
if
Judge,
it's
I
a
would
search
move to
warrant still, why wouldn't you name who the fuck it is?
Proposed exhibit
No.
43, which would be the extraction for the phone number ending in 8719.
No objection, Your Honor. It'll be admitted as People's 43.
And may I approach one more time?
Yes.
Approaching with
Hell
what's
yeah, I
been
memorize
marked
the
as
motherfucker.
proposed
I want to call him
45.
and see if it's still working so I can leave him a
You
message.
recognize what I just handed you, Detective?
I be sounding insane like a motherfucker. Look here, you motherfucker.
Yes.
And is that the preliminary device report for the
Shit.
phone number ending in 8719?
It is.
Move to admit people's proposed 45.
Any objection?
No objection.
It'll be admitted as People's 45.
And very quickly, Detective, I want to direct your attention, well, let me ask you this. Are there user accounts included in the preliminary device report?
Yes, this isn't the user account section, but within the device information, there is an Apple ID account associated with it.
Okay, and if you could flip, I think it's on the fifth page of that 10-page document.
I'm sorry, you said page 5?
Do you see user accounts later in that document on subsequent pages?
Lawyers, I'm gonna need y'all to know what page. You ain't reading your packets?
Yes, on page 7.
7, sorry, thank you. And I want to direct your attention to the user account section go to line 20.
I ain't finna write that nigga. I ain't finna waste my good handwriting, my good penmanship on that fuck.
Yes,
And is
I
there
called him,
a user account listed on line 20 for an email?
there is.
And what kind of email is that?
It's a Gmail?
And is there the actual email address listed in that section as well?
Yes.
And what's the email address for the Google or Gmail account?
JarvisButts82@gmail.com.
There you go, Si.
And
Write him up.
going to line.
You know you still got their
couple down,
email.
24, is there an account listed on line 24 of the user account?
Tear his ass up for me too on the email.
Yes.
And what is that for?
This is an Instagram ID account?
And is there a user ID or a username associated with that Instagram account?
There is.
And can you read that?
J Bo back to the money.
And is that all one word?
It is.
And then is each Instagram account associated with a unique identifying number?
Yes.
And is that number, that unique identifying number listed on line 24 that you're looking at right now?
Yes, in the second column, there it says
Thanks,
user
family.
ID.
And just read those numbers for the record.
262854051.
And just in general, in preliminary device reports, are some contacts that was in the phone listed as well? Maybe not in all of them, but does that happen in some preliminary device reports? Or can it?
Well, not in the preliminary device report is just specific to the device information. So in other sections of the phone extraction, there would be other information.
Contacts that the person entered into the phone or communicated
Yes,
with?
yes, that would just be in different areas, not in the preliminary device information.
Maybe we'll
Yes.
For real, Maker. What's she doing? Don't be moving around and shit. Sit your little thick ass down. You need some pineapples and stuff.
And
Takes
just a
the
couple
swelling down.
questions based on your experience performing phone extractions. Is it possible to recover things that have been deleted from the phone?
It is.
Okay, and is that a guarantee that you're always going to get all of the deleted content from a phone?
No.
Can you just talk about that very briefly?
So there's any number of
trying to clean up
variables
and shit.
that
Sit the
could
fuck-
impact
I
the
know you
ability
is.
to get
I feel
deleted
like a
information.
hypocrite
So it
saying
could
something,
be
'cause that'd be me too. But
make,
sit your thick ass
model of
down.
the phone, the software version, you or not.
We need to get to
Especially,
where
for
she's
example,
talking
where
about the
would that
crime.
go into the phone, where it may or may not still be able to be recovered.
Track.
That's not, is that?
It would-
Any particular division?
Okay, see.
A suspect to look out for in this case.
No, I don't have information on the case. I do the extractions and then return the reports.
Yeah, okay, so she's pointless. Let's get into somebody that we need to hear from. Okay, we know what she did. We know we got the reports. What did the reports say? That's what we need to know.
Pathology.
Who was this nigga?
And passed the specialty. I attended medical school
Whether it will remain
at University in Syria. After that, I moved to the U.S. where I did my residency training in anatomic and
Board certifications,
yes,
is that something that can inform your opinion as to a cause and manner of death?
yes,
And do you rely on those records in various cases?
yes,
And were you asked to review medical records in this case?
yes,
You did not perform an autopsy in this case?
no,
I would renew my qualification for Dr. Rachel.
I would be curious to know what was the date of the medical records that he reviewed for any relevance of the medical records to this matter.
Well, I think it is relevant because we provided offer of proof as to why the witness is on the stand regarding medical records.
I guess I can object when we get to that.
Right, when you
Understood.
object or on cross. So, yes.
Thank you, Judge. And Judge, at this time, too, I should have done this before I called them, I would move to admit people's proposed 18, which are the medical records.
So hold on, let me ask you a question. So he's a doctor that even though there's no body, that he can look at certain forensics and stuff like that and be able to determine like if he can like declare her deceased. Is that what he does?
From July 2014 to October of 2023 for Naziyah Harris.
And at this time, I'm going to object to the admission of these records as irrelevant. They're through October 2023. The date of disappearance of Naziyah Harris was January 2024. That's a 4-month period. I don't see how these are relevant to what might have happened in those 4 months. It's certainly not relevant to what may have happened on January the 9th.
It's very irrelevant, bitch. Because if she went to the doctor 4 months ago and was not pregnant, and then she was found pregnant, don't you think that shit would be prevalent? Don't you think? I mean, I would think that. What is she talking about right now?
And Judge, I think the defense's objection as to relevancy goes to the weight that this court can give those or not give those records, not the admissibility of those records, because while it doesn't encompass straight up to the January 9th, it does encompass a several-year period for her where, as again, an offer of proof, the doctor is going to say there was nothing life-threatening that he saw in these records.
I would agree. Overruled. So I would admit that's People's Exhibit 18.
18, Judge.
For real.
And may I approach, Judge?
Yes.
Approaching with what's now been admitted as People's 18. Doctor, do you recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
And are those the records that you reviewed to come to a conclusion in this case as to the review of those records?
Yes.
And did you ultimately write a
They never found her body. He's looking at medical records right now.
report as to your conclusions on your review of those records?
Yes.
May I approach that?
Yes.
I'm approaching with what's been marked as People's Proposed 42. Do you recognize that document that I handed you at Proposed 42, Doctor?
Yes.
And is that your report that you wrote after you reviewed the records in Exhibit 18?
Yes.
What's the exhibit number on that, Doctor?
Exhibit 42.
And at this time, Judge, I would move to admit...
For real, Lexiana, because I wouldn't be able to do it. I don't give a fuck.
And I'm objecting to this, Your Honor, specifically to the last paragraph in this letter. It assumes facts, not an evidence, where it says...
I could be his lawyer. Because let me tell you something here. The judge will hold me in contempt for not doing shit. Because we come up in the court and shit, dog, and I know the nigga ain't did it. It'd be my turn and shit to go, whatever. I'll be all on my phone with shit. Doc would be like, judge would be like, ma'am, you got a question? Ah, hell no. That nigga did it.
The cause of death remains unknown. There's not evidence of...
You going home, Judge. Just waste the court's time. Just pay me and let's lock this nigga up.
MRE 703,
Yeah.
I don't believe that they'd be admissible pursuant to any expert
I don't believe that.
Has to rely on facts and,
Some people
data.
shouldn't have no
We don't
defense.
have
I
that.
don't give a fuck.
It's not, as far as I understand, Dr. Ray's job to declare
Fuck, we defend him for
we
it.
don't have
We all around the
declaration
city
of that.
in Detroit
We don't
closet
have
working for a
government,
13-year-old.
Paperwork from any government agency making that declaration.
And Judge, I don't think that's required for the doctor to opine.
Hold on one second, because this is blowing me. I want to get into, I seen pictures. Hold on. Who is this?
Good morning.
Good morning.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. Watch your step. Come to the box. Okay. Also, you can pull that whole microphone off the ledge when you testify so we can hear you better.
Okay.
May I proceed?
Yes.
Could you state your name for the record?
Exactly, and
My
it's
name
the
is Rita.
preliminary,
This is my
exactly.
first name, Green is my last name.
And what do you do for a living, Ms. Green?
I am a forensic scientist with the Michigan State Police.
How long have you been a forensic scientist with the Michigan State Police?
I've been a forensic scientist
Come on,
for
black
almost 4
queens
years
up in
now.
this bitch.
4 years?
Judges
Yes.
and forensic
And do you have
scientists
any,
and shit.
first, what is your primary role in, what division do you work in within the Michigan State Police lab?
I'm in the forensic laboratory and I am in the biology unit, also known as BFI, which is body fluid identification.
And is that what you've done for the 4 years that you've been at MSP?
No, I've actually been at MSP longer than the 4 years. I'm sorry, it's been almost 4 years.
Okay.
But I've been with MSP for a little over 15 years now.
You've been in the lab for the last 4 years, or almost 4 years?
Correct.
Okay. And while your time in the lab, has that been spent on body fluid identification?
Correct.
And do you have any training or education?
I'm gonna email that nigga, be like, man, tell us what Naziyah at, man. Quit acting stupid.
Yes, well, my education, I have a bachelor's in chemistry from Tennessee State University. And my training, I went through a body fluid identification scientist training, which included practice samples, mock samples, casework observations, lots of literature to read.
And how long, in terms of fluid identification?
June 20
Training annual?
tests that we do.
At this time, Judge, I would move to qualify, or have you testified as an expert previously?
Yes,
In both in Wayne County and outside of Wayne County?
just Wayne County.
Just Wayne County?
Yes.
At this time, Judge, I would move to qualify Ms. Green. as
Nah, this is exactly who we need to hear
of
from.
Body fluid identification.
Any objection?
I would just ask how many times she's testified previously
Previously as a scientist, 2.
as an expert?
Yes,
How many?
2.
2. Okay.
Yes.
No objection this time.
Okay.
And first, can you describe what is meant by body fluid identification in general terms?
So body fluid identification is the examining evidence items for the possible presence of body fluids such as blood, semen, or saliva.
Okay. And do you use different tests to identify, let's talk about blood primarily.
Mhm.
Is there a test that you've used and used in this case to identify or determine if blood is possibly present on a piece of evidence that was submitted?
Yes.
And what is that test and talk about that you use? Or different tests?
So we can use different tests for blood in this instance. Primarily, there's a test called phenolphthalein. I can spell it if you need me to.
Please.
Okay. PHENOLPHTHALEIN. And we refer to it in the lab as pheno for short, if that's easier. But that is essentially a 2-step test that we use. It's a color change test to where if there is a possible presence of blood, it will turn a pink color. If there is not, or it's like an undetectable amount, it will not change color, basically.
Okay. And is there another test that you use specifically for blood?
We also have what we call hemosticks available, which are essentially strips, little plastic strips with a pad on the end that is also a color change test, but it's simpler to use. You touch it to a cutting of your evidence and it'll turn blue or it will not turn blue. And there's also a hemotrace test that we test for the presence of human blood.
Okay. And did you utilize those 3 tests that you talked about in this case?
Yes.
Okay. And in terms of the pheno test, can you just describe how that process works, what you actually have to do to utilize that test?
Yes, so again, it's a 2-step test where you have the phenol solution and you have hydrogen peroxide, which is the 2 components used. It's a 1 for 1 drop, 1 drop. And you drop those onto the substrate, which is typically a cutting of a swab, or that's typically what it is, a cutting of a swab. You drop the 1, you drop the 2, and then it'll change to the pink color or it will not. If it changes to the pink, we refer to that as a positive.
Okay. And that's for the presence of, or possible presence of
Possible
blood.
presence of blood, yes.
And then jumping forward a little bit, you described to determine whether there was human blood or not human blood.
Mhm.
We call that the hematrace, I believe?
Correct.
What's the process for that?
So the hematrace, similar to like
I'm approaching with what's already been
learning
admitted
more about
as
their jobs
People's
than the fucking
41. And Ms. Green, do you recognize the document I just handed you?
yes,
And is that a report that you authored that was relevant in this case?
yes.
And first, what record number are you looking at there in your report?
This is record 7.
And is that, what is the lab number associated with that?
MD 24-691.
And permission to publish exhibit 41.
Yes.
Yeah, put it on
And
the
on the
screen.
screen there, are you able to
Thank
see
you.
that from your seat?
Please, just put it on the
Yes.
screen.
Is that the
Shit.
same document that you're holding in your hand? That's on the screen.
Cameraman, zoom in.
That is the same document, yes.
Okay. And
Thanks,
just
bro.
talking about the
Any nigga that is-
information on the top of that document right now,
Mm-hmm.
what goes in where under laboratory report? What is entered into that portion of the document?
So under the laboratory report section, we have the number, the investigating officer for the case, and their agency number, the record number, date received, time received, and the date completed.
And moving down to evidence reviewed, can you talk about what is listed in that section of these reports?
The evidence received section?
Yeah.
Yes. So these are the containers that I received under this record number for this submission.
And when you say container, what do you mean by that?
The container numbers on,
Let's see what we got evidence that's being tested. So we got the black hoodie, the pink bodysuit. We got Naziyah Harris's blood card, I guess, to match the evidence against. We got the truck door handle swabs, the trunk speaker swabs, the driver trunk speaker swabs, trunk door frame, and a folding knife. That's what we got so far. This is the things that's being tested.
the left side there. Can you hear me okay when I turn this way? Okay.
Yeah.
The container numbers on the left are the container numbers that are
Right,
given to the item when it's submitted into our laboratory.
And are those numbers, the container numbers, assigned by the law enforcement agency that submitted it or by the...
It looked like blood that was on that damn
The
ID.
container numbers are assigned by us, and when it's entered in our system, it gives it a sequential number.
And in terms of the agency number, though, is that also included in the evidence review?
The agency number is what the item numbers that the agency gives in their internal system, but we include it in our description.
And for container number 5, first, what was in container number 5?
Container number 5 is the black hoodie.
Nigga,
sweatshirt.
And what agency number was included?
85, bro. See, this is where I get angry.
Number 85.
And then
He reading the papers.
container number
He reading the
6,
papers.
what was in container number 6, the physical piece of evidence?
Was a pink bodysuit.
And what agency number was that associated with from Detroit Police Department? But I do into the interpretations section of your report.
So in the interpretation section, this is where we report out our results for our body fluid testing.
Okay, that's what we need to look
On
at.
the first item that we're looking at here, the black hoodie.
Yes,
And did you also test for semen as well?
yes.
And starting with the test for semen, what was your, first, what is that test called?
The test that I did was the acid phosphatase test.
And was there any, what was the result of that test?
It was negative.
did not indicate the presence of semen on that black.
Correct.
And then moving down now to your next test here, what was the result? First, what was the next test that you did for?
The next test after this one that I did would be the phenol test. The way that it's listed here is not necessarily the order of the testing that I did. It's how, for some reason, that's how our system, our reports generate the report. So, but the next test I would have done on this would have been the phenol or phenolphthalein test.
And is that a blood, you described that as a blood test, right?
Yes, presumptive blood test.
And for the phenol test, what was your result of that test?
So there were areas that were not phenopositive and there were areas that were phenopositive.
Okay, and can you talk about that a little bit more when you say areas that were positive and not positive?
Sure. So I selected several areas on the entire surface of the hoodie, from the hood all the way to the sleeves, front and back, to test for the possible presence of blood, and I tested numerous stains. Not all of those stains were positive, meaning they didn't all exhibit a color change.
Okay.
Yes.
But some of them did?
Some of them did.
If you know how many did and how many didn't?
I wouldn't know
With looking at photos of that, be able to help you answer that question?
Looking at photos, yes, it was a lot.
Okay, we will come back to that.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get these photos.
Going down to after the pheno test, what was the next test that you did?
On the hoodie, it would actually be, yes.
Let's just go down the list of the
Okay.
tests, if that's okay,
Yep.
as they're listed on here. So
Yep.
after the acid phosphate test, what's
Because
the
he
next
might not
one?
have shot her. He could have
The
stabbed
next one will
her.
be the hemotrace test, which I did on the stains that were phenopositive. I decided to follow those up with hemotrace to test for the possible presence.
Without
the
no
presence of
body, it's
human
really kind of
blood.
hard to tell how he killed her. But it could have been those same holes. Probably could have been through stab wounds too. Like
No.
Okay. That's what the hemotrace is for.
The hemotrace will tell us, yes.
All right. And what was the result of the hemotrace test on the areas that were positive on the pheno test?
So I tested 5 areas with hemotrace, 5 of the phenopositive stains. And 3 of the stains on this hoodie were hemotrace positive.
Now, the next listed one is the hemosticks test, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And what was that test for? What was the reason you administered that test?
I did that one on the stains that were not as obvious. Sometimes you might get a weak phenopos, which is basically a very faint pink. And to kind of supplement the positive result to make sure I was seeing what I was seeing, I followed up with the hemosticks because sometimes it's easier to see. The hemosticks has a yellow pad and it changes to like a deep blue when you apply the sample to it. So that's why I followed up.
As it's listed here, the hemosticks test was positive, correct?
For the ones that I tested, yes.
For the ones that you tested,
Mhm.
which, to be clear for the record, was not all of them.
Correct.
And you said that you tested the weak positives from the pheno?
Yes.
And did you only test weak positives from the pheno test?
Yes, if I'm not mistaken, yes.
All right. And here, there's a line there at the top of the page. Can you read that line and tell us what it means? Or the paragraph at the top of it?
Where it starts indicated?
Yeah.
Okay. So indicated the presence of human blood. Additional areas on this item were tested that did not indicate the presence of blood and or human blood. Additional areas on this item were tested that indicated the possible presence of blood.
And what does that mean? Why did you include that in the report? Or why is that included in the report?
That sums up the results from page 1 for.
let's see here. So in the pink bodysuit, acid phosphate was negative. And that would have been semen, but then the blood was positive. Okay.
The hemotrace, hemosticks, and positive. Additional areas on this item were tested that did not indicate the presence of blood and or human blood. That was for the hemotrace, the ones that were not positive with hemotrace. Additional areas on this item were tested that indicated the possible presence of blood were for the pheno tested stains.
And in terms of after you conducted your test on the black hoodie, or your tests on the black hoodie, did you do anything to preserve more swabs for further testing by a DNA analysis?
After I did my testing, I went back and I selected 2 stains to send forward to DNA. So I swabbed those areas with 2 sterile swabs and cut those. Once they were dry, you have to wet the swab and sent forward to our DNA lab.
Tested with the...
I sent forward, there was enough of the stain there to where I wasn't concerned really with total consumption of that stain. So I didn't use the tested swab. I used fresh swabs to swab that stain.
And after you send those forward for analysis by another technician, are those individual swabs that you send forward given an identifying number to keep track of them in your chain of custody system?
Yes.
Okay. May I approach, Judge?
Yes.
I'm approaching with what's already been admitted
Yes,
as
will.
record number, or as admitted as 25, which is record number 8, testified to by Erica Anderson. Just looking at that report, Ms. Green, are your swabs that you sent forward listed on record number 8?
Yes, they are.
Just as it relates to item number, or container number 5?
Yes.
And can you read the agent, or the container number associated with the swabs you sent forward for item number 5 off of record number 8?
Okay. The container number or the item number?
Both.
For capital A, lower.
Sequence where you have stain swab and then just swab.
The AD and BD that are referred to as black hoodie stain swabs were swabs of the actual staining that I tested in that test, the pheno test and Humatrace. The 5CD, which just says black hoodie swabs, are for wearer ID. That would be swabbing with 2 sterile.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. I'm trying to. What I want to do now, because see, I think I'm missing one because yesterday I had one found where it was showing all of the hoodies. Hold on one second. I want them to show the shit we need to see, because this, I mean, no, I thought this was the one. Oh, here it comes. It's coming up here. Okay, here we come. Here we come. Let's get over here. That's where we need to be. This is where we need to be. I thought this was the right one. All right, let me get to it. Sorry about that, because it's pissing me off.
Just on the first slide here, first photo, is this just a cover sheet for the item that you did?
Yes.
Okay. Going to the second slide or second photo, can you just tell us what we're looking at here on this slide?
So this slide in particular, I take pictures of the front and back of the exterior. If it's a clothing item, front and back of the exterior, and in this case, front and back of the interior, which is on a further slide. But this here, the top left picture, is the front exterior as if it was worn. So that would be, if you were looking at the person wearing it, that would be the front. And the bottom right picture is a close-up of the top half.
And if we could go to slide. And we're looking at the 10th slide, starting with the top left. Can you tell us what we're looking at there and what is listed underneath that top left photo?
The top left is the front exterior again, as if worn, and this was after testing, after pheno testing. And the one on the bottom right is a closer look at the top portion, I guess from like shoulder to torso of the garment.
And you have some words that you put it on the top right, indicating that there was pheno negative testing on this portion of it?
Yes, that was the key to, so when the viewers such as yourself would look at this photo and see the pH-N, that's our way of saying this was a negative stain and keeping track of the stains that I did test. So the pH-N means pheno neg.
Okay. And we go to slide 20. Sorry.
These are Naziyah's.
I
These
want
are the
to,
clothes that was recovered.
Focus on the bottom right photo here. What are we looking at in the bottom right of the 19th slide in the PowerPoint?
The bottom right photo is where the positive pheno stain was located. This would be the interior back portion of the item. So like inside here, I don't know if you can see, but like it would be interior inside I flipped it inside out to test those stains.
Okay, so what we're looking at here in the bottom right, that's inside out, so that's why we can see what would be the tag.
The tag, correct, yes.
And now could we go to slide 4? And this says on here PH-POS, does that stand for positive?
Positive, yes.
And so that area on the inside of if it was inside out, that area tested positive.
Correct.
For the possible presence of blood.
Correct.
Oh. And did you do the same sort of PowerPoint for the black hoodie that we tested, or that we talked about earlier as well?
Yes, I did.
And do those pictures that you took, were they put into a PowerPoint similar to this one?
Yes.
And do those pictures in the PowerPoint fairly accurately depict your observations as you're testing to move forward of the black hoodie?
Yes.
Move to admit people's proposed.
Man.
People's proposed 44, so we got a little mixed up.
13 years of life. You should not have to go through all this.
And permission to publish.
Yes.
And looking at the first slide of 44 that's on the screen, can you tell us this is just the same cover page?
Correct.
And going to the second slide
sad,
here,
bro.
what are we looking at here in this photo?
This will be the front of the black hoodie if worn.
And this is this before any testing had been done?
Yes.
I want to go forward to slide 7. And what are we looking at here on slide 7 of this PowerPoint presentation?
This is the hood area of the external portion, the external hood portion of the hoodie. I was trying to get accurate angles, that's why so many pictures, but
Okay. And is this, again, just standard overview before any testing had been done?
yes.
And if we go to slide 8. And what are we looking at here?
This is the interior portion that would be in contact, like if you pulled the hood over your head, it would be the area up here.
So you're looking at the inside of the hood
The
that would
interior.
touch the person's head.
Yes. Yep.
And slide 9.
For real,
what
mama, that's what's
in
fucking
this
me
photo
up
are we looking
the
here
most.
Here, and has any testing
It
been
wasn't a
done?
coach or nothing.
This is, after testing, this is back to the front of the hoodie, plus obviously the sleeves. This is after ALS screening, which is alternate light source, which is used for screening for body fluids such as semen and saliva. I ALS the hoodie, and I marked those areas that had a fluorescence to them with a silver Sharpie, so I could further test after done screening. And IR, which is an infrared, is similar to, it's also an alternate light source, but it's more so for blood on dark items where the dark fabric would become lighter, and if there's blood or possible blood present, it would appear darker. Anything that I saw, I marked with a yellow paint pen with IR next to it, so I can distinguish between the ALS samples, the ALS areas that I saw and the IR areas that I saw.
Okay, and we see a lot of markings on the front of this hoodie.
Yes.
Are you able to tell us, and I know you said color, but what portion of this is the IR versus the ALS? And it may be easier for you to step down, although there's not really room. But
So the ones that I observed with IR, I actually wrote IR next to them. I don't know if that's visible on there,
What's on it?
given how small the picture is, but other photos, I took pictures of certain areas, yeah.
and if we could just go to the next, or if you could.
Shit.
And so, for example, that on the front, as we're looking at it, left side of the zipper, that's where IR illuminated?
Correct, where there's, like where the icon, the hand, oh, it moved. Right there, and there's an arrow pointing to that large area, like those were areas that dropped out under IR, so I put IR next to it so I'll know what to follow up and how to follow up the
And that
testing.
IR is to indicate for blood, correct? It's not a test for blood, but it's...
It's a screening tool used to locate dark stains that may be possible blood.
Okay. And if we could go to slide 20. And this is a closer view. Is this after you've done any other testing other than the light screenings?
Yes.
Okay, and what testing was done at this point based on this photo?
This is after the pheno testing was done. This particular picture is reflecting a phenopositive area. And it was also screened with IR. As you can see right over the swabs there, it says IR. And that's actually what led me to follow up with pheno, was because I saw it under IR and it was phenopositive.
And
Okay, so it's
where
blood
is
on
this, if you're able to say, on that hoodie?
I just don't understand. All right, give me if I'm wrong. We spent the first 28 minutes of her being on the stand understanding what her job indicates. Now that we get it, right? She spent another 10 minutes saying how she do her job, okay? So now all I want you to do is grab this hoodie, highlight where the blood is, and then let us go on about our day.
So this would be, if
I
I
see
was
why the jury
wearing
just
it,
be
it would
making
be
wrong
in this
decisions.
area,
They be
the
tired.
upper shoulder,
And for the
bicep
record-
area,
For
yes.
the record, the witness indicated to her right upper shoulder. Okay, right.
The jury they are giving out. The jury just giving out any type of verdict because they be sleepy than the fuck, sitting through all this shit. Like how the hell we gonna be able to deliberate anything with y'all doing all this shit? All right, hold on one second, because I just wanted to see what this girl said one more time before I move on. Because I need to see what she said what time he came over here. It pissing me off. I feel like I could have been solved this crime. And I don't even need no team. Okay, so what's this right here? Yeah, we ain't seen this. What's this, y'all? What's this? I think we might have missed this. What's this?
Playing exhibit 49 from the beginning. And stopping the video at 9 seconds in. I'm not going to ask you to narrate what we're seeing in the video. I just want to lay some groundwork as to what we're looking at. Did you see that bus go by on the right side of the screen?
Correct.
And where is that bus? I'm going to ask 49 from the beginning. And stopping the video at 9 seconds in. I'm not going to ask you to narrate what we're seeing in the video. I just want to lay some groundwork as to what we're looking at. Did you see that bus go by on the right side of the screen?
Correct.
And where is that bus approximately stopping right now on the screen?
That's stopping right approximately at 3 Mile Drive.
And Cornwall?
Cornwall.
Okay. And we're looking at Bedford from this view?
Yeah, we're looking eastbound from the house of 4803 towards down Cornwall towards 3 Mile Drive.
Okay. Continuing playing from 9 seconds.
Ain't no way, dog. So they on the street of Bedford right now. So her bus got off right there. Oh man, bro, this behind me. Hold on, let me see. This is what we've been supposed to be watching.
And moving to Exhibit 50 and playing from the beginning. And moving now to Exhibit 51. And stopping at 6 seconds into the video. Detective, is there a timestamp on this video that you can see or that you know of?
There is a timestamp.
Can you see it on the screen right now?
No, sir.
Okay. And is it being obscured by the zoom thing in the bottom right corner?
Correct.
Okay.
That ain't, is that Naziyah? I can't see the shoes good. But y'all see good? Man, she look like she about 3. Them don't look like the same
Detective,
clothes.
when you went to extract this, is there something you do or a process that you follow to calibrate the time system on the system you're extracting the video from?
Correct. We do a time calibration to the world clock.
Okay, and what is the world clock?
So basically, the world clock is the anatomical clock that we go by from the Navy
So
clock.
they don't look like her to me.
Looking at the anatomical clock or the world clock to the video system, we calibrate how if it's zeroed, which this one was, or if it was.
That's not even showing what the grandma had on. That looked like somebody else. I thought that Naziyah had on a coat with the fur on that motherfucker. That looked like a regular. I can't tell. That's not really good. That don't look like that. Nah.
Short.
Now we do know the bodysuit probably might not have been seen because she had on a bodysuit, a hoodie, and a jacket. But I don't see how
Or fast.
Okay. So you would be able to tell if the time system that is on the video is 10 seconds fast, 2 hours fast, or slow?
Slow, correct.
And what was the result again for this video?
Again, this was 0 to the world clock, so it was on time.
Okay. And
Baby's how it stopped.
And I'm not going to
Okay, see, what's baffling me right now, right, is that don't look like nothing she had on. Not even the clothes that the grandma described. Now, I know how things go. You feel what I'm saying? She's impressionable. Maybe she liked this nigga. It's possible she could have changed her clothes. But what is baffling me is that the auntie said she was home this whole time. So this is Bedford that she's walking down. If you going to sneak out to meet no nigga, you ain't going on the street. She didn't go home. So I don't think this is her. Maybe they showing this is the time she would have went home. I don't know. This ain't her though. I don't think that's her.
May I approach the witness, Judge?
Yeah.
Unless the auntie lying and she did go home and change clothes because, goddamn it, this ain't what she had on at the shop. So somebody lying. Some ain't adding up.
Detective, can you read, it might be easier on the laptop, what the time is in the bottom right corner on the screen right now?
Once it's still covered up. So that time is, and I don't have my glasses, it is January 9th, 2024,
2:54.
I believe it's 14:54 and some seconds.
And 14:54 would be around
2:54 p.m. on the 9th of January.
And all of these videos have that timestamp?
Correct.
And playing the video now from 33 something.
I wish we could get closer to this bus, cause I almost want to feel like she got off the bus and went straight. She had to get on public transportation.
I have nothing further, Judge. Thank you.
Somebody fucking lying.
So in that video, are you familiar with that area that's depicted in the video?
Correct.
Okay, so you said that that was a view from the camera on a house viewing Bedford going east. Is that correct?
Bedford runs north and south. Cornwall runs east and west. So it's shooting eastbound down Cornwall, basically.
Okay, but the view, your view is
The view.
is looking towards the east.
Correct.
Okay, and so in Bedford, you said is a north-south street.
Correct.
And so the person walking down Bedford would be going towards the north.
Yes, ma'am. Towards East
Harper?
Warren.
Or is it Warren or is it Harper?
That's Warren.
Warren. Okay.
Well, Warren, then Harper. That's all going in that direction.
Okay.
It's saying to me something ain't right between the grandma, the auntie, and this man. Because listen, y'all, we got to look at this, right, from a perspective. We know, like, around 7 o'clock, 7:30 at the latest, we know at least by 7:30, this girl was on her way to Ypsilanti. And we know before they even went to Ypsilanti, they was fixing that man's people's car. So that means that girl had to get over there to where that damn shop was from school. If she got off that bus, like the bus driver said, she got off that bus and she did not come down her street. Hypothetically. Because these fucking aunties and grandmas saying they never seen this little girl. So then she had to head straight for the motherfucking the shop. Now my question is, though, I do got a question for y'all. When was it that Shannon said that Naziyah called her and said that she was doing some research about places that was around her, and she was trying to ask her about the Belfort and such? Where the baby mama stay? Where that we found out where the baby mama stay? What day was that? Was that the 9th? Because see, what it's saying to me is almost kind of like, it's not adding up. She was in school still. Okay, listen. So this is what I'm saying. If she was still in school, she got out at 3 o'clock. She would have had at least 3 hours to get from where she stayed over to the shop. But then I'm looking at hold on one second, because this shit is about to blow me so bad. Hold on one second. Let me see something real quick. All right. So this was the last picture she took in school. We seeing the black hoodie, for sure. It's cold outside, so she might have this on. The pink bodysuit could be underneath this. And then she had on a jacket. Now the jacket she had on was a Looney Tunes jacket. But it was colorful though. Hold on one second. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Okay. Yeah, bro, that trying to find it right now. Where's it at? Fuck, bro. I'm looking for my thing of the picture of her. Cause that's just not adding the fuck up, y'all. Hold on. It's a bigger picture. I was just trying to find this bigger picture. So, hold on. So, okay, so that's definitely the hoodie. And that hoodie wasn't tethered. It ain't nothing wrong with that hoodie. That hoodie ain't have no holes or nothing in it. And them glasses was there. See, this some ain't right. Some ain't adding up. Some ain't adding up, bro.